uh, at the top of your feed with a very nice looking beverage, and it says Houndstooth. Oh, it says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So let me refresh.
Why don't you hang up and go
Wait,
away?
I think it's good. I think we're good.
Hi.
Hold on.
But which one is it?
I don't know. Well, I've got you now. I've now got you on Facebook and on Zoom. So presumably we're live.
We were here earlier, but then I don't know what happened. So,
Yeah. Now,
hi.
now I see the Zoom feed on Facebook. So that seems to be resolved. Julie Luce just said hi. Hi, Julie Luce.
Really, Louis, I'm not sure what's happening, but
Maybe other people can check in and let us know if they are seeing this live.
yeah, I do. Louis. Do you have a fan on?
Oh, I do. You know what? I meant
It
to
doesn't
turn it
matter. No,
off.
I was wondering if it was me.
No,
It's
it's me
fine.
and it's off. It's off. It's much better now. I just wanted to cool off this room as much as possible because it's been very hot and humid today.
Is it kind of raining on and off there?
Yeah, we had some prodigious. Actually, it was mostly I was watching the ball game from the Bronx, and they had a rain delay, and then now there's another rain delay. Uh, it looks like we have a show going on because
I
I
think
now we see people
so.
responding. Hi, everyone.
I'm not sure. I don't know what happened, but we're on. We're live. Linda's in Cocoa Beach. Wow, isn't that where I Dream of Jeannie was? Cocoa Beach.
I think it was. Yeah.
Major Nelson.
Right.
That's kind of cool. How
Williamsburg
are you?
Lindemann. Is it Mr. Singh's treehouse? I don't know what that is, but it sounds
Oh,
like
he's at the
fun.
treehouse. Cool, cool, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cocoa
Hi.
Beach is where. Yep, that's where they were. What's so?
I,
There's a rain delay. Who are they playing?
the Red Sox. Um,
Oh,
and yeah, the start of the game was delayed, and then they got into it, and then there was more rain. But now they have enough innings in for an official game, so I guess if it gets called off, it's official. I don't know. Anyway, I'm here, so
you're
that,
here.
that's
Thank you.
not relevant. I'd be here now.
How was your week?
My week was fine. A couple of trips into Manhattan.
Did what'd you do? What'd you do? Tell us
Um,
all about it.
First one, well, first of all, I really find myself, not feeling compulsive about I have to go out and see all the live music I missed in the last year and a
Isn't
half.
that nice, Gary?
I'm feeling more like home is nice. There's lots of music I can listen to at home. There's lots of music I can catch up on. There's lots of old music I can revisit. You know, I don't need to be in a crowd of people, so I'm being very selective. I've been to what, three or four, yeah, maybe 4 or 5 music events. They've all been small. They've all been low key. They've all been manageable. That won't be true forever because there's these tours coming up. But I'm liking it this way for now, and I don't feel really compelled to, I mean, all praise to Jeff Metzger who went to Red Rocks and saw Billy and the Kids.
Oh, great, right?
Yeah, evidently had a great time. I watched the live stream. It looked like a lot of fun, and the music was
Such a
really cool.
wonderful supporter of live music. He
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
it's like he gets it, how
Yeah,
important it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we all do in varying degrees. And in our own ways. Uh, like right now, like I said, I don't feel the compulsion to do it. I feel like when it feels right, I'm going to pick my spots. You know, uh, and just savor life in all the ways I can. If it's not live music, there are many other wonderful things to savor. But I did see some live music during on one of these 2 trips to Manhattan. I went to New Blue, which do you know New Blue?
I don't think I've been there.
Yeah, New Blue is a really cool very experimental music venue. They have all kinds of, you know, out there stuff. But it's also, they're very into DJ culture, but kind of like the leading edge of DJ culture.
Where is it?
The original, they're both on Avenue C. There was one on Avenue C, uh, and I think around
Oh, it was
Fourth.
right on the corner.
No, no.
What was right on the corner?
Uh,
C. There was a place C.
John Zorn's place, the Stone, was on the corner of like C and Second, I
Got it.
think.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but New Blue's a few blocks up on C. And then they kind of outgrew their old space. They kept the old space, but they moved into a bigger, sort of more technologically advanced space. And now have shows at both places. Um, and this was this amazing band. This guy Stuart Bogey, who's a saxophone player and composer and band leader, one of the founders of Antibalas Afrobeat Orchestra. So they were also the house band for the Broadway musical Fela, Bill T. Jones's amazing Broadway musical biography of Fela Kuti, and so he played the sax parts while the actor was miming it. You know, Stewart was playing incredible recreations of Fela's sax playing, um, and they're also part of the Daptone
Sure.
scene in Brooklyn. Um, and it's this whole like sort of communal bunch of people, and he's also tied in with the Joe Russo world. He's played with Joe a lot, and has sat in with J Rad. So this is his band. It's called the Bogey Band, and it's this amazing high. And Joe was sitting in with them on drums for this show. So it was sold out because Joe is like such an enormous draw these days. So it was
Cool.
so it's kind of this amazing hybrid of a New Orleans brass band and Afrobeat and a little bit of Mexican banda music, but then the writing is on this like some of the writing is like Carla Bley in the late 70s and early 80s. This amazing hybrid of stuff, really high energy, really audience participatory, really fun. So that was a blast. They played two amazing sets of music.
And it was indoors.
It was indoors, yeah, but small place, not oversold, not they sold it out, but they didn't pack it, um, and seemed very comfortable, and they checked vaccinations and everything. So
They did.
um, yeah.
So they
They said
asked for your
vaccination.
card. You have to have proof of vaccination to get in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
which I think is a fine policy. Especially now, it's coming out that there are new infections, and vaccinated people are getting infected, but they're not getting very sick. In other words, they're testing positive, but all the serious new infections are unvaccinated people, and all new infections. Period. 99.7% of them are unvaccinated.
Really?
So that proves that the 7%. That's the number the CDC came out with this past week are unvaccinated people. So that's showing that the anti-vax stuff is crazy, and it's self-defeating, and people are going to get themselves sick. They're going to get people around them sick. So
Did
and
you take the subway in?
I took the subway in. Everyone masked on the subway still. Really happy to see that. And the some of the music festivals are seeming a little scary now, because they just had the Peach Music Festival in Scranton, and there was a little breakout of infections. It was kind of a mini super spreader event. So I don't want to get into that too deep. I don't want to bum people out, but
I mean, I saw photos from the Red Rock show.
yeah,
That was a lot of people to be in one place. Granted, it was outside,
yeah.
but
But people should be still making those decisions very carefully, and keeping themselves well informed, and it's there's still a pandemic going on. It's much more under control, but it's still on, and it's still on in other parts of the world. So we have to remain vigilant about that stuff. But I got to hear live music, and that was wonderful.
so you said you went in twice.
yeah, then the next day, Thursday, I went and had my a first post-COVID reunion lunch with a dear friend. Um, I was going to suggest Red Farm, but the hours weren't right. Red Farm doesn't open till 3, so and she could do a later lunch. So, but she will
So
be
where did you go? What did you have? What's going on? Tell us. What's
went to Shopson's. Do you know Shopson's? Yeah, in the Essex Market. Um, Shopson's originally was in the West Village.
I was going to say in the village.
Yeah, if people don't know, Shopson's is this legendary old New York spot. Run, well now both Kenny and his wife are gone, but his kids are running it now. But Kenny Shopson was this legendary, grumpy, classic New York type, who had this huge menu. Like the menu is like
Good pancakes.
incredible breakfast,
Really
huge
great thing.
breakfast, massive hulking breakfasts.
Like those big
Um,
oval shaped
yeah,
plates.
yeah, great sandwiches. Um, you know,
11,
uh, what?
Rob Morocco just said mask
Oh,
is cool for me. Advertising space still available on my mask.
oh,
Should anyone be
yeah,
interested? 11 with
11 with Jenna. That's the advertising. So yeah, so Shopson's moved to the old Essex Market. Now the Essex Market is now moved across Delancey Street to a much more modern and state of the art facility, and it's still Shopson's. I had a great sandwich. My friend Emily had a great sandwich, so that was pretty sublime.
And was it busy walking around and on
Well,
Delancey?
the market was not teeming with people, and the city wasn't,
I never
massively
use that word teaming. That's such a good
teeming.
word.
Yeah, T
Teaming
E
with
E,
people.
T E
Teaming
E.
with people. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a great word, but
yeah,
it's just not part of my vocabulary
yeah.
yet.
Well, right.
Teaming.
So
Teaming.
how about a free meal from Red Farm with a vaccination? I would be an easy sell. I'm already vaccinated. Damn it! If they were offering that, I'd get vaccinated again. But anyway, yeah, the city seemed comfortably full of people rather than insanely full of people. And I think a lot of people are still pacing themselves, and businesses are still letting people work from home when possible. And the city seems to be in pretty dealing with everything really well. So I'm happy about that. I'm not sure if all places can be credited with that. There's talk about California reinstituting or tightening up some rules again. So
Yeah.
we'll, yeah,
LA
we'll see.
County.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a dicey few months, but you know, glad to be alive, feeling healthy.
You look good. I like that color on you. That is,
Yeah,
you have that other, that
I've always
flannel
liked this
or that
color.
plaid you have, the
Yeah,
plaid. It's the same
yeah,
color. It's pretty much my favorite color, I think.
yeah. Me too. Oh, has been for. I always wanted to have a car in this color.
Oh,
Yeah. I'd like to have a pair of
what
Converse
kind
high
of
tops
car
in this
would you
color.
have? I've never seen you drive a car.
Oh, I've had I had a car in the Bay Area my last few years
It,
there. I got along without one for many years, and then I had one. Um, and yeah, what I don't know ideally what kind of car I would like. My next car purchase. I would for New York it seems like a Mini would be just perfect for
oh, wouldn't
parking.
it be fun just to have a little zip, 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 zip.
And they do make a Mini in more or less this color, so I'm keeping an eye on that. But for longer hauls, I don't know if a Mini would be the ideal thing. So it depends on how much road
Wouldn't be
tripping
fun
I.
to drive cross country in a Mini.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what my long term
Are
plans
you a
are.
Tesla kind of guy? Like, do you like the whole concept of the Tesla?
I like the concept of the Tesla. I'm not sure if it's been as well executed as it should. If the Tesla is the car I want, I love the idea of the electric car, but I think we need broader infrastructure for charging and all that stuff. I like the idea of the hybrid,
Yeah.
uh, and then there's the talk about the hydrogen cell cars, which are still a ways off, but they're supposed to be pretty amazing. So, and the only vapor that comes out of them is water.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so there are going to be some breakthroughs, and of course, the petroleum industry is going to be screaming and kicking about every one of them. So that's going to be the battle. But
Because then it will go to airplanes.
yeah. So yeah. So yes, that was my week. My week involved some travel into town,
How
and
fun.
it also involved some viewing. Um, Two great things that just premiered yesterday that I have already viewed. I viewed the first few episodes of this thing called McCartney 321.
Oh, I
It's
read
this
about it. Okay. Mhm.
series of conversations between Paul McCartney and Rick Rubin, and it's so cool because it's
Where do we see that?
that is on Hulu.
Okay. How does
Um,
Hulu get all this groovy stuff?
Hulu is partially, I think Disney is the majority shareholder in Hulu.
I see.
And then I think NBC had, so the networks are sort of invested in Hulu, and they have a lot of money. They have, so they can make original programming, original movies. They put out Summer of Soul as well. So
Yeah,
they are
that's what I'm saying. How
Hulu,
are they?
Hulu's really got the hot hand right now, and they're dealing with it really smartly. And there's all this interface with Disney. So Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so Hulu puts together these deals to put out movies theatrically through Fox, and then on their own platform for home viewing. And they come out simultaneously, so you can see them in a theater or you can see them on TV. And it seems to be working. Um, and then the so the other thing I saw. But let me talk about the McCartney thing. It's so cool because it's these two guys who are just
Is it
absolute.
video? Like they're sitting there chatting, or
Yeah, yeah. It's like black and white video of them sitting in Rick Rubin's studio at a mixing console, and they just pull up Beatles multi tracks and play around with them, and talk about the origins of how this track was made, and the sort of um, the spur of the moment genius with which the Beatles did things. Like Paul says, yeah, we basically didn't rehearse. You know, we went to the studio and we tried things out. Yeah, and especially after they became really successful, they had the luxury of doing that. Because they would just have like Abbey Road block booked, for however long it took for them to make the album. And they something like the string arrangement for Eleanor Rigby, the string octet arrangement for Eleanor Rigby. Paul just came in and like pecked out those parts on the piano. And then George Martin said, okay, we'll put the viola here, we'll put the cello here. And that was all composed on the fly. And then they brought in the string players and just nailed it. And the piccolo trumpet part on Penny Lane, Paul saw like a television performance of Bach Brandenburg concertos, like the night before they were going to record Penny Lane, and it had this incredible piccolo trumpet on it. And since George Martin also recorded like the London Philharmonic, and other classical music on the BBC, he was a classical music producer as well as a rock producer, before he was a rock producer. So George Martin said, "Oh, I know just the guy," and he called up the piccolo trumpet player, and they sketched out this part for him with this impossible high note on it. The last note of that solo is like, the guy said, "Well, that's really out of the range of the piccolo trumpet," and Paul and George Martin.
when we're done?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And all these things, and even from the very beginning, like he talks about just how brilliant John's rhythm guitar part on "All My Loving" was, one of their first hits. That double time, which takes this really strong right hand
Nice.
strum, and then George came up with this perfect counterpoint line, and it was all just it was just the instincts of these guys. So, and what Ringo came up with was, just the perfect little drum fill for everything.
So where was this conversation all this time? How come all of a sudden it's here?
Oh no, this was recently filmed. This is new
Recently
footage.
filmed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
The
But
Rick
it's set in black
the
and white. Okay.
yeah. It's black and white just for as a stylistic thing. And then they pull up bits of footage of the Beatles in the studio.
Ah, okay.
Um, and some stuff with the Beatles on stage.
I was misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, because Rick Rubin, if he was born when that stuff was first being made, he must have been very young. I know he's younger than me, and I was in my teens. So um, it's just fantastic, and they're both geeking out on it. Like Paul is saying, oh my God, how did we do that with so few tracks to work with? And it's fantastic. So I think there's a total of 8 of them. I think I've watched 3 so far, and it's really delightful.
I like to watch that kind of stuff. Like I watch Rick Beata. Do you know his
Yeah, yeah,
channel where he'll break down a song like More Than a Feeling by Boston, and
right,
it's like this part right here, and just the voice, he'll just isolate the voice and you hear
right,
the guy singing
right,
the song, and
right.
or Steely Dan Asia or something like the
Hmm.
making of Asia. That's another one I love. If you guys
That's
haven't seen that,
Yeah, that whole series, classic albums, which
oh,
was a British series. It's all the band's second album, the Brown album. They have one. There's a one on the Grateful Dead that's it's called Anthem to Beauty, and it's about that period from Anthem of the Sun to American Beauty, and it's great. Yeah, all of those Stevie Wonder songs in the Key of Life is in that series. Yeah, it's a tremendous series of things,
and
classic
it's all on
albums.
YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, all or most for sure. And so there was that. That was my first cultural blast yesterday. And then I absolutely had to watch. I don't know if you've heard of this or if anyone else has heard of this. The first 2 episodes of Schmigadoon. You heard of Schmigadoon?
No,
Schmigadoon is this
Negadoon.
Schmigadoon. It's this.
Spell it, please.
Well, Brigadoon, the musical Brigadoon. This is with an SCH instead of a BR, Schmigadoon, SCHM. And it's it's an incredibly it's a hilarious and loving parody of musical theater. It's a musical theater geek's love letter. Um, and and it kind of parodies like so many great musicals of they're putting them out 2 episodes a week for like 4 weeks, I think is what it is.
I'm just looking
Or
at.
maybe
Oh, Michael Key is in it.
yeah,
Keegan, oh
Keegan
no, Keegan Michael Key. Keegan,
Keegan Michael, yeah, the 2 stars are Keegan Michael Key,
I love
and
him.
I love him so much, and Cecily Strong, who's been one of my favorite Saturday Night Live cast members
An
for the last.
American musical comedy television series created by Cinco Paul and Ken Dario, with all the songs written by Paul. Wow. No, I don't know this Schmigadoon.
Oh, it's so Schmigadoon is a place. Brigadoon in the Broadway music. Brigadoon is this mythical town in Scotland that only appears once every 100 years. And this traveler finds himself in this town and falls in love, and then the town disappears and doesn't appear for another 100 years. In this, it's this couple who are they're actually on like a couples retreat where they're trying to like work on their marriage. It's like this kind of cosmic new agey couples retreat, and they wander off and get lost in the woods, and they walk over this bridge, and they found themselves in Schmigadoon, which is they find themselves trapped inside a musical comedy. And Keegan's character hates musicals, so he's like he's in hell. She's kind of into it, and then they like all these characters pop up. The cast is amazing. Alan Cumming,
This is
Alan Cumming
happening
plays
now.
yeah, yeah. Alan Cumming is the mayor of Schmigadoon. Um, Kristen Chenoweth is sort of the authoritarian church lady, scold, watching out at everyone's behavior. And there's this character who's kind of like the carnival barker in Carousel, like Billy Bigelow. There's the guys like that, and he sort of caught Cecily Strong's eye, and it's just brilliant and funny, and it's the kind of they're really making fun of musicals from the perspective of people who really love musicals and really understand them. And that, yeah, to do it well, you really have to understand the art form. So they do it. So anyway, Schmigadoon, that one is on Apple Plus. So yeah,
Now, is there Apple and Apple Plus? Is that a different thing?
well, Apple TV,
Apple
Apple TV.
TV?
Yeah, yeah. I guess Plus is the premium, is the subscription service. and it's so I've watched two of them now. Two more premiere next Friday, and then I think the last two the Friday after that. So
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon, I can't wait. And it's
Amazing.
like the
You
Schmigadoon.
know,
The title song is a little like Oklahoma, you know. They spell out Schmigadoon, of course, and it's if you love musicals as I did, you know, and do, it's absolutely necessary.
well, there you go. Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon.
And anything on Criterion channel this week?
I don't think I've watched any Criterion movies this week. Did I? I don't think so.
And then also, Jeff mentioned, oh, that Bob and they're going to be playing with the symphony that Kennedy sent the Kennedy Center. Did you hear about that?
Uh, I've heard something. I don't know any details yet. But
The Wolf Brothers, basically.
yeah, the Wolf Brothers. Well, Bobby's been working on this orchestral piece. The thing with the Wolf Brothers having that horn and string section
Mhm.
was actually kind of an outgrowth of this larger piece that Bob's been working on.
I
Um, and and then when the pandemic hit and he couldn't rehearse with an orchestra, he just like kept those guys and said, why don't we incorporate you into the Wolf Bros thing?" So that's cool. I look forward to what they do with
so
that.
apparently they're playing with the symphony at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wondered if it was anything like what we did at the Marin.
Like First Fusion, like that piece. I
Yeah.
think it's a new piece. I guess it's kind of along those lines. It's something that Bob's been working on. I think with the same composer, an arranger that worked on First Fusion. Haven't heard any of that yet, but I look forward to what they do with it.
Well, if they need any choral,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
I get the new
Oh yeah.
Criterion discs from my local Kalamazoo library. Oh,
Excellent. Excellent. That's a good thing. Um, and what else was I going to say about stuff coming up? I'm sure Jeff already knows that as I predicted, Bruce Springsteen's involvement in that New York City concert is going to be minimal. He's just going to sing. He's going to come out and sing one song. Probably, I'm sure it'll be Because of the Night with Patti Smith. So it is not Bruce Springsteen headlining the New York City concert.
he's
So
really gonna come out and just do one song.
yeah, he's busy. He's on Broadway. He's got his stuff going on. You know. So
So is the Broadway thing, is he actually in it? Is he
oh yeah, no, this is Bruce on Broadway. You know, like
Broadway?
5 6 shows a week, and it's this autobiographical storytelling weaving in with songs. So you know, I saw it in his first run
I
a couple of
remember
years ago,
when you saw it.
and it's it's just absolutely, it's like being in the living room with the guy. He's telling his life story, and he's I'd like to see the new one because he's apparently changed things up a bit, but it is like a theater piece. You know, it's he 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 wrote his memoir, his autobiography, a few years back, and then once he had that written, he said, "I'd really like to perform this. You know, I'd like to take some of the stories from this and shape it into a theater work."
That's
So
cool.
it's just him on stage alone with guitar and piano for most of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Patty joins him for a few tunes, but that's it, and
So
it's
this will
incredible.
basically what he's going to be doing with Paul Simon is basically not an advertisement for his
No,
Broadway,
the
but
show doesn't need advertising.
right,
You know,
but it's just
that's
like they're in town,
yeah, you know,
time.
yeah, just wants to chip in, you know, like do his part for this concert. But nothing else has been announced about that concert yet. You know, you know, I'm sure
I don't
Clive
know,
Davis.
people for me, but
Yeah, it's not really. I don't have a strong interest in being in that throng. You know, at this point in history, if it was Bruce and the E Street Band, I would be modifying my position slightly. But yeah, it'll do fine without me there. I'll put it that way.
so any other epic food this week? Did you make anything fun at home?
Uh, Today I made actually I made a nice big, will last for a few days, pasta salad.
Hmm.
I was in the mood for something cool because it's been stinking hot and humid. So the only heat I needed to apply was, boiling the pasta water, and I could stay out of the kitchen while that was going on. And I just threw together a very tasty pasta salad with, like, little sweet cherry tomatoes and some sweet peppers, um, some basil, some parsley, some corn. Um, uh, yeah,
That
very
sounds
happy.
good.
Very happy with refreshing, satisfying, substantial, and I'll have more tomorrow.
It's good. I'm reading about the batteries. Yeah, I don't understand
Yeah,
about the whole battery thing.
yeah.
What we do with all that. So do you serve the pasta salad with anything else? Do you do a side of
I
or
just had it as a main course today, but during the week, I'm sure I'll have it as a side with something. It'll work as that. Today, that was just all I kind of craved. I said, pasta. I was going to cook some pasta, some hot pasta, and I said, I don't want hot food today. I said, pasta salad.
pasta salad?
On the other hand,
And you had all those vegetables in the. Do you go to a market like a farmer's market near you?
there is a farmer's market near me. For some essentials, there's just like a decent supermarket nearby, and for a couple of the things I needed today, I just hopped over there, minutes away, and did that. There's a farmer's market that's walking distance, that's only open on Sundays that I could go to tomorrow, but I don't think I will. But yeah, the nearby park has a Sunday farmer's market.
What's your thought on all this space stuff? Richard Branson and
Uh, you know, it it seems, I mean, self-indulgent rich guys are going to do what self-indulgent rich guys do. I'm fine with the impulse to explore, and the idea that space travel will someday be a consumer thing is pretty intriguing. But
would you go? Do you have the desire? Do you feel have the need to go into space?
uh, I wouldn't say the need, but it intrigues me. I can't see anyone not being intrigued by it. It's not like my lifelong dream to study the cosmos, or and when you get there, there's basically there's basically nothing there. I mean, it's uh, I love the pictures they send back. I love the stories. I love the whole lore of people having done it and having reached out, and that's part of the human character to check that stuff out. Um, you know, Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks had a great song about space exploration called "Hell, I'd Go." Yeah, I love Dan Hicks so much. So yeah, so I'm kind of the "Hell, I'd Go" persuasion. But these rich guys doing it, and sort of it's kind of the ultimate extension of like who has the biggest SUV or whatever, or, who has the biggest whatever. It's that kind of male compensation kind of vibe.
Yeah, I
And
keep I really like Richard Branson because I was a big Virgin fan.
yeah, I do too, actually.
But and I sit here and now I just see this who's going to do it first, who's going to do it fast,
Yeah,
who's going to do it
yeah.
better, and I'm thinking, you guys, all this money you could be doing a lot of other really important things with it, like you know
Well,
maybe not
like paying your employees at Amazon better,
right.
Jeff. You know, um, that's just the basic for someone like that. I do like of those guys, Richard Branson. I've always gotten the best vibe. He's a rock and roll guy.
Yeah.
And he's like he's his perspective is so much like, isn't this fun? Um, and he's done a lot of good work in his life. So the other guys are a little marginal for me.
Marginal. So
Yeah.
I'm not rushing, but I'm just curious. What are you doing next Saturday night?
Mm, I believe that there is nothing so compelling that it would deter me from being on 11/11 with Jenna.
what about your show tomorrow? What's happening on your show?
The show tomorrow is kind of non topical. We have a few little subjects to talk about, but it's not no guests specific agenda. Uh, I imagine there will be a bunch of talk about the Billy and the Kids shows from people who were there and people who saw the stream and everything, because there's a lot of enthusiasm for that. Uh, Maybe we'll talk about the new John Mayer album, which just came out, which I am going
Going
to
on
listen.
tour.
He's going on tour early next year. Yeah, he's going to do Madison Square Garden and those kinds of places. I'd happily go see him again. I vastly enjoyed the last time I saw him. And yeah, there's a bunch. This new album just came out on Blue Note, which is I don't know if I mentioned before, the saxophonist out of Detroit, Dave McMurray, who always gets confused with David Murray, but it's Dave McMurray, longtime Detroit tenor player, and he just put out an album of all Grateful Dead material.
Yeah, and
And
David Murray did that 20
years
plus
ago,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah. So it's funny how those names converge on that concept, but uh, but yeah. So I'm eager to hear that. I heard one track already, which was Betty Lovette singing "Loser." And that's excellent. And the rest of the album, I think, just came out, so I'm gonna check that out, and we may talk about that on the show a little bit.
I'll check it out this week, and then we can talk about it next week too.
Cool.
I have to put it in. Yeah, I saw that and was like, but he already did that.
Right, because it's Dave McMurray, right?
Murray.
Yeah, really great player. I mean, I was aware of him before, and he goes back with Don Was quite a ways, because Don is from Detroit, and Dave McMurray did some work with Was Not
Oh,
Was.
so
So
he was on Walk the Dinosaur.
yeah,
Everybody walk the dinosaur.
yeah, great record.
Hmm. All right. Reimagines the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, there's a nice little Don Was does, I think, maybe a monthly thing on YouTube, on the Blue Note Records YouTube channel. I think it's called First Look, and he talks to artists about their new album. And there's one of him talking to Dave McMurray about it.
Oh,
On
and he does Franklin's Tower. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to check it out tonight.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Melanie.
Melanie, what? Hey, girl, what's up? I'm behind. I don't see a Melanie anywhere.
She came on the very bottom of the chat there. Hello, loved ones, she says, and she is indeed a loved one.
You are, but
So I'm putting a little heart next to that one.
I don't see it.
Huh? Maybe it's scrolling a little more slowly for you or something.
You are is what I see.
Yeah. Well, above that it says hello, loved ones. It doesn't for you?
No,
Very strange.
something's kooky tonight because I started out the show and it was
Yeah.
on Facebook Live and Facebook or Zoom even does this thing now. Like it does. Do you know that you're about to live stream onto Facebook, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
say yes, got it, yes, got it, and I did that, and then you are, you are, you are, I am, you are, we are. Here we
I
are.
am he, as you are we, and you are she, and we are all together. Speaking of the Beatles.
So I want to see that. I have lots of things to watch this week. I have that same feeling, not only about going to shows, but performing.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Sort
I
of
think it's
okay, not. It was like, oh, are you going back on tour? Are you gonna go? And I'm like, I got some shows coming up, a couple here and there, but I'm not
yeah.
aging to go out and be doing that.
I, I think that's actually a very healthy attitude. I think it's you know. I mean, I know we lost a lot of time, and we lost a lot of opportunities and experiences, but rather than try to compensate, and get them back, I think it's just adopt a nice pace of getting back into things, and it's just not. I'm glad it's not a great compulsion for me. I can't speak for anyone else. I know people who have already been to dozens of shows, and more power to them. But It's just not what I need to be doing right now.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. I went to a really great dinner tonight with my friend Ernie, someone that I
Mm-hmm.
went to high school with,
Mm-hmm.
and his sister came over, and we kind of had this fun little party and ate some really great food, and it was just nice to be outside. Not in. I'm not doing the inside thing yet because it's because it's summer and it's nice to be outside.
Right. That too.
And why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
But I'm happy that things are happening.
Yeah.
But I'm
Oh,
also
good. Melanie saw Summer of Soul and declares it spectacular,
I
isn't
what
it, Melanie?
twice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I can just cue it. I can cue up different parts of it on Hulu, and just watch. I'll watch the Ray Barretto part again.
It's
Or
a
whatever.
study. I really
Yeah.
believe I believe that should be part of every American history class in high school and possibly in
Absolutely.
college.
Absolutely.
There
No.
needs to be it
Yeah.
needs to be its own thing.
Yeah, and Questlove treated it that way. He treated it as a history lesson, rather than just a concert movie, and I think that's so valuable. So I am pasting in a link to the that Don was Dave McMurray interview on YouTube, so people can check that out. There you go.
And I don't know, do you know other people on the album?
Well, the Wolf Bros are on that track with Betty LaVette. I'm not sure
Oh,
about the rest of.
cool.
I don't think they're on the whole album. Oh God, Mavis and Mahalia, Melody, is that not
Oh,
extraordinary? Here's something
I've
amazing.
watched that at least. I rewound that the second time to watch that again
Yeah,
because I had to absorb. I had to watch Abby. I had yeah.
yeah, that was possibly going to be Aretha and Mahalia, but booking Aretha didn't work out for some reason. Um, but I'm so glad Mavis got that opportunity. You know, Mavis is so glad Mavis got that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, Nina, Abby, um, just so much. I mean, I love the reaction of Billy and Marilyn from the Fifth Dimension watching themselves, and getting so moved by it. You know, uh, there's so much. I mean, Stevie, of course.
Young
Uh,
Stevie.
yeah, David
I used
Ruffin
to
and
watch
his.
The Fifth Dimension all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, because they were one of the most mainstream acts. They were turning up on all the mainstream TV variety shows. They'd be on Andy Williams or
Harry
Dean Martin,
Como and
Dean Martin, all those shows. Yeah,
well,
but
I
they
want to
said, sorry, go ahead.
no go ahead.
Well, but then they said in a way that hurt their career. It hurt their credibility in the black community because people thought of them as too white.
They
So
cast
it's
out.
yeah,
Oh, Sly, right?
Sly. That to me, I mean that's one of the greatest Sly performances I think ever because of where it was and because the crowd was right up against the stage and the crowd couldn't believe what it was seeing. This weird hybrid of soul and hippie, you know, just amazing. And
Your
I
first,
love
go ahead.
I love that they got Greg Errico in there to talk about it, and how he was there in his outrageous sort of, hippie bell bottom outfit, and the audience didn't know what to make of him until he started laying down the funk. Then they got it.
What was your first concert, Carl? Sly was your first concert? The Fifth Dimension at the Circle Star Theater in San
Wow.
Carlos, California.
Yep.
Yeah.
Circle Star was a trip.
19, I was there in the 80s,
Yeah, me too.
but 1972. Cool, Jeff.
Hmm.
What was your first concert? You told me this before, and was it?
My first legit, real concert in a theater, ticketed Harry Belafonte.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah, which
You
was
saw
profound.
Sinatra there?
Yes, Frank played the Circle Star a lot. I never saw him there, but he played there a lot.
The Fifth Dimension was Carl Hess's first concert.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, yours was Harry. Mine was Glenn Campbell and Jerry Reed.
That's great.
And then one day, Nino came home from school, like from college, and
Hmm.
was running around, and he was looking for some money. He's like, "Do you have any money?" And I go, "Yeah, I have my jar of money, or my pig." And I had this pink pig, and he goes, "Do you want to go to a concert?" Because my mom and dad were somewhere. And I
Mm-hmm.
go, "Yeah." I saw Yes. I was in fourth grade. My
Mm-hmm.
brother, I went to Yes at Wing Stadium. It was like $8 a piece. I
Wow.
had money in my thing.
So that was that your first rock concert?
My first rock concert was
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, Jeff. Trying to think of the photographer that was at the Circle Star. Michael.
Zagaris, maybe?
Is that his
Was it
name?
was it Michael Zagaris?
Was he the Circle Star
Well,
Theater?
Michael Zagaris was like a very busy Bay Area music photographer. And I think the Circle Star might have been he was also the on-field photographer for the Oakland A's and the Raiders. Um, but and he took one of the greatest rock and roll photographs ever, which is the last note of a Who concert at Winterland, seen from behind the stage, because there was a balcony behind the stage at Winterland, which sometimes was occupied and sometimes closed. But when it was open, you could see a show from there in Winterland and look out past the band into the audience, right? So Michael Zagaris got this shot of the last note of a Who concert with Pete Townshend's guitar about 20 feet up in the air and like Pete poised under it to catch it. And the crowd just like everyone in the crowd is like at full elevation. And if you Google Michael Zagaris and the Who, chances are that photo will turn up.
Is it ZA?
Zagaris. Melanie had a good first rock concert.
Yeah, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else remember your first concert? Oh, rock, paper, photo.
Oh, Melanie says, yeah, I could hear the seeds of Song in the Key and Stevie's solo in Summer of Soul. Specifically, there's this one thing he's doing on the clavinet. I think the song was Shooby Dooby Doo Ba Day or whatever, and he's doing these like trills at the top end of of the clavinet, and I said, "Wow, that's the opening to Stevie's song You Haven't Done Nothing." Years later, 1974. So that's your assignment, class. Listen to You Haven't Done Nothing, and then listen to Stevie's solo in Summer of Soul, and you will hear that.
So much to do.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you, Gary.
sure.
Eric Houlihan, the Allman Brothers.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a good first one.
Hi, Eric Houlihan. Well, Mr. Gary,
Ms. Jenna.
I want to thank you also for, and the literally the 11th hour last week of finishing up the bio for the grant.
Oh, my pleasure.
We talked about it on the show a couple times. I have everything crossed.
Yeah. Is there any indication of when they decide or?
Sometime in September.
Okay. Well, I hope I did good by you.
You did. You always do good by me.
Well,
Too.
thanks.
And I just love this. If you discuss Summer of Soul, I missed it. We haven't seen it yet, but hearing it is not. Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
no,
no, not
no,
to. You'll watch it. It doesn't matter, Jeff. You'll be watching it the rest of your life.
no, it's an absolute not to miss.
Yeah.
We expect you to have a report by next Saturday morning, Jeff.
Okay.
You,
Next
you've
Saturday.
been a little, we know you've been busy and you've been traveling to Red Rocks and all that, but
But I
I got
think
it.
you'll at least watch it. If you watch it once, you're gonna go back and watch it again.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Summer of Soul isn't just worthwhile. It isn't just it's necessary.
It's a lifestyle.
It's
It's
necessary.
it's so necessary. It's part of it needs to be part of everybody's life
Yeah,
now. And
yeah, yeah.
children need to see it in elementary school. It's one of
Right,
those. It's gotta
right.
happen. Like you watch
Yeah,
the moon landing, you watch Summer of Soul. Period.
Right, like the people in the movie who were at the concert and then never heard a word about it for 50 years said, it's like you're giving us back our history,
Yeah.
you know, and that's something that needs to be done in many areas of American life. God knows, but in the area of music and the area of culture, the music that's seen in that film should be so central to our lives. It has been in various ways, but kind of indirectly, you know, and not given the credit it deserves. So it's no, it's a massively important thing. I think, you know, they should just close the nominations for best documentary for the Oscars. They should just give it to Questlove, give Questlove the Pulitzer Prize, give him the Nobel Prize, whatever they want to give out. You know, it's
All
that
about
important.
all about
It's
Quest.
yeah, yeah.
I think I'll go
Now I
there.
want to go watch it again.
Led Zeppelin, Julie. Led Zeppelin, Keyser Stadium. Wow,
Wow, wow.
cool. Was it just Led Zeppelin though? I can't imagine.
No, I think there were other bands. I mean, I wasn't there. That was about a year before I moved to the Bay Area, I think. But um, that was actually, I think, the first. Although all of the others took place in Oakland, I think that was one of the first shows that Bill Graham called a day on the green before they had the
Back
day
then.
on the green. Yeah, before they had the day on the green series at Oakland.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I didn't. I never saw Zeppelin. Never had a great desire to see Zeppelin. I was not really a fan. You know, there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I won't go into it because I know they are important to other people, but they kind of. There was always a song or two on any given Zeppelin album that kind of caught my ear, but but their whole approach was not what I was looking for in music. You know, it didn't go where I needed music to take me. That's
I
you know, and
find a
that's
lot of melody in Zeppelin's music. I love it. I think it's truly melodic and
some of it is, yeah, some of it is.
stayed with me and was definitely a big part of my youth. Dave
Mm-hmm.
Clark 5 at Modesto.
Woo! That's pretty good.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Well, of course,
Well, it's 12:07. It's Sunday morning. So tomorrow, this morning, my friend
yes.
Alex Martinez is going to be on from the Bay Area, but I think he's in Maine right now.
Oh,
So
beautiful place to be. Good
he's
friend
the
of mine is in Maine.
yeah.
Yeah. My friend Jen, who was the one that I smoked my first legal New York weed with, uh, she she has her relatives have a place in Maine on this beautiful little inlet called Perkins Cove. Um,
A lot of magic there.
I've got to go up there. Got to visit sometime. It looks incredible. Um, but I haven't been to Maine in a very long time, and it's so beautiful.
I haven't either, but
Yeah.
I have a feeling I will be there sooner than later, and I don't know why. But I've talked about doing a recording up there with a friend,
Uh-huh.
and I think it'll happen sooner than later. Any way you
Hmm.
want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
There's some nice lightning going on outside my window as we speak.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you hear the thunder yet?
No, it must be pretty distant because the thunder is not a big factor.
And any plans? Any big plans this week?
I've got a lot of work to do around the house. You know, it's going to be one of those weeks.
Is your brother heading this way? And have you guys talked about
Yeah, we're talking about the end of this month, beginning of next, and that's coming up pretty soon. So
that? Is
yeah,
the
we'll
end of
see.
this month, as in end of
Yeah,
July?
yeah, I'm guessing it'll be more like early August, but yeah.
All right. Well, I love lightning too. You don't get too much of it in the Bay Area, but man, when there is lightning in the Bay Area, there is lightning in the Bay Area.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
far, we don't. I don't want that to happen tonight because Lillian starts shaking an hour before it even happens.
Right, she just senses it. Yeah,
No, I know. I mean, I knew that you weren't referring to Journey, but
right.
I like that song a lot. But
Hmm.
anyway, kids, I'm gonna go walk my dog before it does rain some more.
All right.
Good dog. Were you a yo-yo guy?
Not a to- I had one. I wasn't a terribly competent one. I could walk the dog, you know, like minimally, but I was not.
Do that other?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
My sister was into yo-yo, but she also was a click clack. Remember click clacks? Those
I remember
things,
yeah, I remember click clacks. Yeah.
clack click. Those were very dangerous. This is a dangerous toy. I bet there's a click clack in that house somewhere, or a
Could
yo-yo.
be, could be in the attic. Yeah. Yeah.
So you get to go through the attic yet.
Yeah. Yeah. The attic is kind of scary. Many layers of things in the attic.
That'd be a fun show, Gary's Attic.
Yeah. I'll see. I may find something fascinating. I may find something amazing. You know.
I'm sure you will. Well, thanks a lot, Gary Lambert.
Well, always a
I
pleasure.
have
Thank
I have
you.
a list of things to watch, and if you want to post any links on here. Oh,
Jews not good at yo-yo. Jeff Metzger claims.
I know
Well,
I'm
you know why? That's because in Hebrew you read from right to left, and it's oi oi rather than yo-yo. Bada boom.
I need that. I need that.
Yeah,
I need that.
Mr. I always wanted to build a little novelty device called Mr. Rimshot, so you could follow up your jokes with a boom.
I need a Mr. Rim shot right here because I have
Yeah,
everything. I
yeah,
have this.
yeah. That can easily. I mean, I'm sure you can find a rimshot. Yeah,
I know. I know I can. I'm going
yeah.
to by next
You
week.
will.
And it's a matter of finding some place to put it on the desktop that it's accessible
Yeah,
to to the show.
right. Yeah, it's just part of the whole technological challenge.
Thank you, Gary Lambert.
Love you, Jenna Mammina.
I love you too, man.
Love
Bye.
everyone contributing to this. I'll see you all soon.
See you next week.
Good night.
Bye bye. Very nice, nice applause. Bless your bones, everybody, from Melanie Demore. Thank you so much. I just get overwhelmed sometimes. I love that we're all here. I really am, and I love that I do. I have 2 pages now of things that there's the thunder. 2 pages of notes from Gary, but I'm going to start with David McMurray tonight on listening to Franklin's Tower. So, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Alex Martinez in the morning, Carla Hess tomorrow night. Stay safe, stay healthy, be nice. If anyone has a letter, I'm ready. I'm ready for my letter. Carol, hi, you were so cool. Friday night, thank you so much. You guys, Carol's doing this fabulous painting, and we've been watching the progression, and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna see it next week too. So, really, really, really. Mama Grace, have a beautiful night. I'm gonna go walk Lily and Pearl, and I'm not seeing a letter, so I guess I'll just pick something. I'll give you one more. She really needs to go outside. Thank you, Gary Lambert. Lots of love. N. I'm gonna go with N. I'm still thinking. N is for the way you nod at me. Nice thoughts. Naughty words, because I think naughty words are fun. And a notorious heart. Maybe L tomorrow night, maybe R. Yeah. Thank you. Love heart. Really hard.